Let's take it right now to our panelists this evening. Joining me is Dr. Devendra Bhasin, spokesperson, Uttarakhand Bharatiya Janata Party; Dolly Sharma, Congress spokesperson; Shadan Farasat, he's an advocate, Supreme Court; Amitabh Sinha, advocate, Supreme Court as well. I want to cut across to the Congress spokesperson first. Dolly Sharma, the fact is, if you just look at the language of the High Court, it's made it very clear and held your government, when you were in power in Uttarakhand, responsible for the mess that the residents and the railways finds itself in, of possibly appeasing one community to make way for illegal colonies encroaching on railway land. Dolly Sharma, aap mute par hain. You're on mute.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm saying that this is the half-truths, and I would like to say that, very importantly, no matter how fast a lie runs, the truth will someday overtake it. And now, as the Supreme Court said, you can't uproot 50,000 people overnight. This is not me saying this, Congress saying this. This is the Supreme Court of India, Honorable
Supreme Court of India. What the Supreme Court has said, we've detailed. I want to ask you on what the High Court said and tell me what's the truth in that. When the High Court says that it was the Congress which held your government in power responsible for actually creating an illegal colony based on the tenets of appeasement to a certain community. These are the words of the High Court.
Madam, this is the half-truth shown by the BJP. The lies that BJP gave in front of the entire country are exposed now. I was in one of the channels in the evening on Aaj Tak only. There was this video shared by your journalist only, wherein people were showing the papers, the registries, how the schools were made.
True.
How the parks were created, how the dharamshalas
That's
were
irrelevant, ma'am, but where does it take away your own role from creating what there is right now?
Ma'am, BJP was in power from so long. Now they want to create such demographics that their leaders openly in the media said. Clearly they quoted. And now they want to lie again and again. Don't you think they're not with the people of the country?
One second, Dolly Sharma, I want to go across to the BJP spokesperson, but I will ask you the same question again. How does it absorb, okay, ma'am, 1 second, hold on. What the Supreme Court said, what the papers that there are, what is in the case of the government itself encroaching on government land, railway land is separate. How does that absorb the Congress? Ma'am, hear me out. Ms. Sharma, how does that absorb the Congress for creating this mess in which the residents, 50,000 of them, find themselves in?
These are all lies that BJP is continuously saying. They were in power for so long.
High Court said it, ma'am, not the BJP.
Ma'am, again I'm saying this is the half-truth that they've presented in front of the High Court.
Okay, I want to go across to Mr. Bhasin, Dr. Devendra Bhasin, who's joining us, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Bhasin, what prima facie it looks like is a deeply political situation. This particular area, with the number of people that reside here, Haldwani in question, was won by the Congress by a sizable margin. And this is clearly a Congress vote bank which you want to destabilize.
First, has been created by Congress. Because when Congress was in power in Uttarakhand and before that in Uttar Pradesh and in center also, they brought people from outside Uttarakhand. These people, majority of them are not from Uttarakhand, they are from outside, nothing doing. And the entire...
So you do agree you're targeting a people and you're not going by the policies. Is that what you agree on, sir?
Number one. Number two.
So you are targeting a people, Mr. Bhasin?
No. What I'm trying to say that the first has been created by the Congress, number one. The people were brought for their own political ends, Congress leaders, number two. Number three, the entire issue was legal issue. The occupancy, whether it is legal or illegal. But now Congress is trying to criminalize it on Hindu-Muslim basis. When evacuation took place in Bihar, in Rajasthan, in Jharkhand, in Maharashtra and other states, Congress leaders, they never raised their voice. But in Uttarakhand, because government is of BJP, they are trying to criminalize the issue and defame Bharatiya Janata Party, number one. Number two, that in 2013, one Mr. Joshi, he filed a PIL in Honorable High Court, Nainital, Uttarakhand. And in that PIL, finally High Court ruled that the 29 acres of the land belongs to railways. There, Congress leaders, they tried to manipulate that this land is of the state government. But they were not in a position to prove that one. And finally, what happened, that court ordered that the land should be evacuated within 7 days. And the state government was not party at this time. And the state government was acting on the instructions of the High Court. And now, when Supreme Court has taken another decision, our Chief Minister has clarified that we are abide by the orders of Honorable Supreme Court. So we are in a position just to comply with the orders. And whatever court will ask
on the basis, sir, Mr. Bhasin, on the basis of what you're saying, that you're not looking at targeting a community or targeting the vote bank, which is essentially of the Congress, and numbers have proven it in the last election. Do you at least agree, hear me out, sir, do you at least agree to the fact that your government did not argue the case well in the High Court, therefore the decision that has come in from the Supreme Court? You submit to that?
Our government was not party in the case. The case was being between the person who filed PIL and railways. Railways told that this is our land. And finally, state government was of the role that they had to comply with the orders of the Honorable High Court.
So the state government was a part of it. It was very clear. And the question that is being raised is that in all probability, the Supreme Court, which usually takes the side of the law when it comes to encroachers, has said that not once but multiple times, that land grabbers cannot take refuge in law, did underline the fact. But that aside, do you not think, Mr. Bhasin, that if this eviction would have gone through, there would have been a humanitarian crisis, 50,000 people on the roads without a roof in the middle of January?
We do not disagree the humanitarian part of the entire issue. But the basic question which I am trying to raise is the role of Congress. We are looking for the people, we are abiding the orders of the High Court and Supreme Court now at present level, and we will submit our plan for the rehabilitation. But what Congress is doing, when they were in power, they did nothing for these people. They did nothing. Now they are coming just to raise this issue and to communalize the entire issue. When
and you are not communalizing the entire issue, sir, because by drawing parallels to Shaheen Bagh, you are not communalizing the issue. It's not you.
We are not communalizing issue.
Has your party not raised similarities and said this is another Shaheen Bagh? You have said it. It's come from your party.
Now we are going to submit our plan before the Honorable Supreme Court when the notice is received by us. Because the court is going to ask us to submit the plan for the rehabilitation. We will do that one. As far as the encroachment is concerned, Congress on one hand, they bring people and do nothing for them.
It's not about the Congress, no. It's entirely not just about the Congress, but having said that, it's as much about you as it is about the Congress. Shadhan Farasat, Advocate, Supreme Court, is also with us. Mr. Farasat, now the court has said a practical solution needs to be found. In your eyes, what is that practical solution?
Just before I answer that question, I think the High Court order actually I found a little surprising. I mean, it had a bit of a political tinge to it. Normally when judgments are written, I think you test the underlying legal issues. You don't make it overtly political. That's why we have, trust in our legal system. So I found the High Court order to be a little politically written in that sense. I mean, I was a little surprised. I have not seen High Court orders like that. Now, insofar as your questions of solutions is concerned, I think, firstly, let's just look at, Delhi itself. The 60% of Delhi lives in unauthorized colonies. They don't have a title over their lands. So it's a human problem, not just in Haldwani. It's a problem across India. It's a problem, I would say, of crores of people in India. How many of us, except the upper middle class and middle class, actually have land title? Almost nobody, except maybe rural areas. So in urban India, it's a serious problem. And therefore, the way to do it is that you regularize these colonies, you provide facilities, you provide water supply, you provide electricity, because at the end of the day, they are citizens in the country. You can't say this country is only for 300 million middle class who have title over their land and over their property. It's not. Everybody is a voting member of the public. In fact, 60 to 70% of people may not have a land title. So we have to regularize, create this thing, and if there are developmental requirements, genuine developmental requirements from the railways, those can also be taken into account. To the extent land is needed for them, you give the land, you rehabilitate those people to some other portions, provide them land. They are humans, they are not animals, right? We can't treat humans in our country like animals. So you have to rehabilitate them, and there are mechanisms and schemes which can be developed for them. That's the solution.
You know, I want to cut across back to the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson. And the question, sir, Mr. Bhasin, if you look at India, and that's a modest, estimate, there's over 800 hectares of land which the railway has, which is under encroachment. Now, when you put it in purview of this immediate crisis, it's not just pertaining to Haldwani, as pointed out by the lawyer.
In Haldwani, it has 29 acres of land which has been enclosed. And in case we recognize all the residents who are living there, it means that you will set a precedence. You simply go somewhere, enclose the land, and then get it regularized, and development work will be hindered. So this is not the simple case.
Sir, there are multiple cases. Like I pointed out, Dr. Bhasin, 800 hectares of railway land across India has been encroached upon, sir. So there are multiple Haldwanis that are playing out across the country.
Hello?
Go ahead, Dr. Bhasin.
Yes, what I was saying that we are interested in the rehabilitation, but at least we should not speak the language that the encroachment should be regularized. Tomorrow, if railway wants to extend its development programs, so in case of encroachments, how will they do? So are we going to support all encroachments, illegal occupants? Are we going to be a nation of encroachments? Development work is, we will put aside. All we are going to criminalize the issues just for the vote bank. This is not so simple. So we have to go in details. Our government has said we will follow the instructions of the Supreme Court, and we will submit our plan to the Supreme Court.
Okay. I want to go back to Mr. Farasad. Mr. Farasad, as you might have found the High Court order a little peculiar, a lot of people have also raised questions and found the Supreme Court order also a little peculiar, because understandably the kind of stand that the Supreme Court has taken in the past when it has come down to encroachments. And an example, and possibly it's been done, this time around, keeping the humanitarian crisis in mind of so many people out on the roads in the middle of January, is inhuman. But I was looking through some figures. June 7th, 2021, the Supreme Court ordered the Faridabad Municipal Corporation to entirely lift a town away where the Aravali forest land of encroachment was concerned, and they were given just a 6-week notice.
So see, normally in cases of green cover and forest land, I think you will find our court's jurisprudence a little more aggressive than on other kinds of things, right? Like if there is other kinds of encroachment, and this colony has been around for decades together. It's not as if it is yesterday's thing. If there are fresh encroachments on public land which is utilized, a court will obviously take a very different approach. They will say, no, we are not going to permit this and we are not going to allow this. But if there's an established colony for decades together, families and generations have grown, I mean, of course, a judicial forum is going to take a very different view of that. So I don't think there is any contradiction. And obviously, in cases of forest land, not just Supreme Court, even High Courts, Delhi High Court, in cases of forest land, they are much more stricter, because anyways, we don't have much green cover left. So I think there are different kinds of priorities, and the courts are very conscious of that when taking different views.
All right, I want to just take final comments by both the Congress spokesperson and the BJP spokesperson. Dr. Bhasin, I'll come back right to you, because the question also stems from the fact that once again has been raised by the petitioners and the residents. Some of them have valid papers. That aside, it's also the land on which there is a government school, there's a government dispensary, there is sewage. Many people would come out and give you bona fide electricity bills. So how do you change all of that and just blame the 50,000 residents? What was going on till now?
Now the entire issue is before the Honorable Supreme Court. And our Chief Minister again clarified that whatever Supreme High Court rules give direction, we will follow, we will comply.
All right, okay, there seem to be, okay, I want to cut across to Dolly Sharma. Dolly Sharma, 2016, the same Supreme Court that you're quoting today had said that all encroachers should be brought under the Railway Public Premises Act 1971. 2016 was this order, and the government should ensure that encroachments are removed. You were in government in Uttarakhand at that time. What is it that you did?
Madam, as I told earlier, there have been many families, thousands of families who were living before the independence. And also I would like to say here that the lies of the BJP are exposed. And also, as the BJP spokesperson said, but I would like to tell him that this is Dev Bhumi, and people of Banphulpura matters to us the most. More than anything else, people of Banphulpura, Haldwani matters to us the most.
All right, okay, but many would read that matter to us the most because it's a Congress vote bank, possibly the reason why Dr. Bhasin is smiling. But having said that, deeply entrenched in politics, the story is just not about a humanitarian crisis, but viewers, one has to look at the possible humanitarian crisis that could have unfolded. 50,000 residents would have been out on the streets without a roof on their heads. It's a dichotomy there because most of us who are watching this debate, most of us who are reading on this particular story would be split because many of us do also believe they are encroachers. They've grabbed land, and even the Supreme Court has said that land grabbers cannot take the refuge of the law. But multiple ways to look at it. Are they the only ones grabbing lands? What about posh colonies that most of us live in? Not just that, the railway land in itself, 800 hectares of it is encroached across the country. This is just 29 hectares of that. With that, I thank all our panelists.